The head coaching rumor mill is spinning, and the latest news is out of the Pacific Northwest. Jed Fish, the head coach at the University of Washington, reportedly might be entering the coaching transfer portal next season. His family reportedly does not like Seattle, and so despite the fact that Jed Fish has said he's enjoyed his time as the head coach at UW, he might be on the move next season. And of course, as a University of Florida alum, the rumor is that he might be going over to take Billy Napier's old job with the Florida Gators. And obviously, Florida Gators fans, I think on the whole, do not like that. They're the kind of Lane Kiffin or bust. And at this point, I think Jed Fish would be a great hire for him. I think Lane Kiffin really doesn't have a whole lot of reason to leave Ole Miss. Time will tell. We'll see how the season goes for him. But I think Florida Gators fans are being a little delusional, saying no so quickly to Jed Fish or any guy like Jed Fish. Whether it's John Summerall or Alex Golish or whoever it is. I think a lot of Gators fans really need to open up to the possibility of someone else other than Lane Kiffin being the next head coach at the University of Florida. I think they can do a fine job. Fish is actually right now, I think, second, in Call Sheet and Polymarket, these betting sites, the second favorite to land the job. Lane Kiffin's still the odds-on favorite, but the longer the season goes on, the longer Ole Miss keeps winning games, it becomes increasingly unlikely that Kiffin's going to leave. And in my opinion, I don't think Kiffin is going to leave. Right? They're playing Florida this weekend actually, and then they close out the season with the Egg Bowl against Mississippi State. If they win both those two games, they're 11-1. They're probably not going to be playing in the SEC championship game, right? Obviously, Bama and A&M still undefeated in conference play, and Georgia does have the tiebreaker over Ole Miss. We'll see if they can hang on and beat Texas this weekend. But Ole Miss, if they're going 11-1, they miss out on the SEC championship game, they're pretty much locked into the 5 or the 6 seed probably. Hosting a playoff game in Oxford, great environment for the fans, and they're going to be playing a really favorable matchup against probably the ACC champ or the G5 champ, and more than likely going to be going on to the New Year's Six game, the quarterfinals. And even if they lose there, right, if they're quarterfinals out or semifinals out, if you're Lane Kiffin and you just came off a 12 or 13 win season, and with a quarterback with your backup quarterback who transferred in from D2 Ferris State this season, and you had a 12 or 13 game season, are you really going to blow it all up and take the risk of winning 5 or 6 games next year just to go to Florida? I don't think so, right? And obviously there's a bit of an infatuation between Kiffin and the University of Florida allegedly, so maybe that is a risk he's willing to take. But I think the gig is pretty sweet at Ole Miss, and as long as Ole Miss is continuing to win games, I think Florida's going to have to settle with the fact that they're not going to get Kiffin. And so I think if they can pull Jed Fish away from the University of Washington, it would be a great hire. Just looking at Fish's track record, he came over after the COVID season to Arizona. Arizona's coming off something like a 73 or 77 loss to Arizona State in their final game of the season in the Sun Bowl. I don't even remember what the record was, but it was pretty abysmal. Fish takes over. They go 1-11 their first season. They lose to Northern Arizona. But they start losing games by a little less, right? So now they go from getting blown out to losing close games. Then they go 5-7 the second season. Then they go 10-3 in his final season at Arizona. They win a bowl game. They finish like 12th in the country, 11th in the country. And obviously, Kalen DeBoer takes the Alabama job, and Fish goes over to Washington. They have an okay season last year. They're 6-3 right now. They play a couple favorable games these next couple weeks, Purdue and UCLA. It's not out of the question that they win 9 games this year, maybe even 10 if they can pull off an upset against Oregon at home. So, I think Fish has got the track record. Obviously, he's a Florida alum. So, if the talent at UF is great enough that, right, the argument that Gators fans are making for Kiffin to leave Ole Miss is that the ceiling is too low at Ole Miss, right? That you can do so much better with the talent in the state of Florida, and the boosters and the Florida Gators brand. And if that's the case, I think they can do just as much with Jed Fish. I don't think he's below that threshold of success. And from Kiffin's perspective, again, if Ole Miss is winning 12 games this year, in what was supposed to be a bit of a down season, or a retooling season. And you're looking at the state of Florida, and you're looking at, I don't know if Alex Golesh is going to be coaching at USF, but you're looking at Miami still recruiting the hell out of the state of Florida. You're looking at, neighboring schools, Georgia, Auburn, or maybe not Auburn, but Georgia, Bama, even to a lesser extent Texas and Tennessee and A&M. They're recruiting out of the state of Florida, right? I know that talent pool is large. I'm not saying there's not enough talent to spread around, but it's really, really hard to say that, the ceiling is just so much higher at Florida that it's worth taking the risk of leaving Oxford, where you've built up so much goodwill, and going to a fan base that is, I don't want to say that the leash might be short at Florida, given how long Billy Napier lasted, but I don't think it's certainly gonna be shorter than what you have at Ole Miss, right? If Ole Miss went 5-7 next season, I don't think there'd be anyone calling for firing Lane Kiffin if that happened at Florida. Even though it's much, much more likely, given the state of affairs for Florida, there'd be people calling for his head, right? And so I don't think it's necessarily a great decision for Lane Kiffin to go to Florida. And I think Jed Fish would be a great hire. So something to keep in mind for Florida Gators fans. It looks like John Summerall is going to be the favorite to take the Auburn job. Alex Golesh is going who knows where. Other guys, Eli Drinkowitz, I think, is looking like it's increasingly likely that he goes to Penn State. So a lot of these guys are kind of getting matched up to other schools, and it's looking like it's Kiffin or bust for Florida. And I'm telling Gators fans, y'all got to slow down, because I don't think you've really earned the right to be Kiffin or bust right now. And so for y'all's sake, I hope you get Jed Fish and y'all have a great season.